so guys, I mean, college football is back. We had some games last week, but Baylor and Texas State will open the 2023 season Saturday at McLane Stadium. It's the third straight year that the Bears and the Bobcats have played. 2 years ago, Baylor had a Big 12 championship team, went to the Sugar Bowl, but that game, that season opener was really close down there in San Marcos, 29-20. Baylor won that one. Last year, a little more of a blowout. Richard Reese ran for 3 touchdowns, the freshman back then for Baylor, and Baylor won 42-7. What are you guys expecting this time around? Either one of you.
Well,
hit
it, Zach.
Guess first.
All right. Well, it's that you brought up the one 2 years ago, the 29-20 game. That I feel like the score made it look closer than it was. Brady McBride, the quarterback for the Bobcats, had 3 picks that game, and there was a really late touchdown for the Bobcats that made it a 7-point game. Then there was a safety, I feel like, right at the end that made it that weird 9-point, that 29-20 score. So that one, it looks closer than it actually was. It was a solid 10-point lead for Baylor that whole game. And as far as like the history of Texas State versus Baylor, that was really close. I mean, the biggest loss Texas State has ever had, 75-0 in 1916 to Baylor. So I mean, when you compare it to something like that, it's not as bad. Or even compared to last year when it was 42-7, I believe that score was. Only Bobcats had Ashton Hawkins with 13 catches. That was it really for the Bobcats. He was the only thing going. It could be a little closer to what we saw last year just because of all the new stuff with the Bobcats. 53 new scholarship players, 71 overall new players, including walk-ons. So it's a complete overhaul of this roster. It's a brand new coach. It's a brand new everything. So everybody's kind of working on the continuity, getting used to the whole situation. So I think it'll be a little bit of a slow go. It's like 27 points, I believe Baylor is favored to win by. I think they might be able to still cover in there, but I think it's going to look a little more like last season.
What do you say, Zach?
Yeah, I think it's a good test for Baylor's defense specifically, because I mean we all know what Kenny and Incarnate Word put up offensively last year, and like you said, Keff, with all the newness and kind of the offense that they run, I think it matches up in a unique way to kind of maybe expose some things for kind of a younger Baylor secondary and kind of an inexperienced, well, not inexperienced front, but inexperienced secondary, really. And so I think it sets up as a good test, right? I think Baylor should win, but I think it's gonna teach Aranda and Baylor exactly what they want to learn, especially about their defense, based on everything that Texas State, at least early, has shown on tape.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. I think the line is the line for a reason, and I think Baylor should win comfortably. Keff's right. I mean, I was down at that game in San Marcos 2 years ago, and it was, you never felt like Baylor didn't have it in control. It was just, honestly, I thought it was kind of a sloppy game. And at that point in Dave Aranda's run, I mean, the jury was very much still out. Baylor had not had a very good 2020 season. There was a lot of reasons for that. Aranda got hired right in the middle of a pandemic and, got to not have any spring drills. And so, there were a lot of factors there. What I remember most, Keff, about that game down in San Marcos? That was my first game down in San Marcos. And I thought it was cool. They had the tailgating down in past the end zone, inside the stadium. Is that a regular thing?
So that's called Cat's Garden. It's been regular the last few years. It's actually going to be gone this year because they're doing this whole renovation project on the end zone complex. That's that little area right there where the weight room is and the locker room and the coaching offices. They're totally revamping it. It's a big multi-million-dollar expansion or renovation, I should say. And so it's gonna kind of be out in the back of the end zone where Cats Garden was before for this season. So they're suspending it this year, but they're going to bring it back next year. I guess it does look like a tailgate. It is tailgate, but it's supposed to be family friendly. You know, there's the jump house for the kids or bounce house.
I loved that. I thought it was unique. You know, you don't see that at every stadium.
No, I mean, hey, you know, we don't have that P5 life down here in the G5. You gotta do what you gotta do to get people out there. But they would even have a stage there. They'd hold concerts after the game. You know, usually it's a moderately popular artist coming out there and playing, and it was pretty cool. You know, I'm sure they'll bring it back next year, and fans definitely appreciated it. But I think they'll appreciate the renovations a little bit more. But yeah, that's one of the unique things about San Marcos is
yeah
they enjoy the tailgate. That's for sure.
That's for sure. It's a cool town.